Hello everyone, this is Ashish Thapa. Today I will be discussing the functions of management, which I have already discussed you about the certain Mintzberg managerial roles, and I have also talked to you about the different types of the skills that particular manager or different levels of the management in the organization should have. I have talked to you about the conceptual skill. I have talked to you about the technical skills. I have talked to you about the HR skills. Different types of skills are there, and it is needed according to the levels of the management. Today, we are going to discuss about the functions of the management. Firstly, you must have to understand what do you understand by the term functions of the management. That is very, it is, you should be able to understand this type of concepts, this type of functions. After that, you will be able to go through the different functions of the management. For example, planning, for example, organizing, directing, leading, controlling. There are different functions of the management. It has been described in your syllabus. Okay, firstly, the word functions definitely would help us to know about the how it operates or how it is going to operate. If I give a certain example, for example, what is the function of the heart? I ask certain question, then definitely many of the students would reply, the functions of the heart is to transfer or do the circulation of the blood all over the body. That is the basic functions of the heart. Okay. Similarly, what are the functions of the management? Today we are going to discuss about the certain functions of the management. Okay. Now, I think I have already talked to you about the certain things, concept of the management. When I say the management concept, I definitely remember the thing that you must have to do the things done by, get the things done by others. That is the particular, in simple way or in a simple context, you can say this is the concept of the management. So you can see, manager in a certain organizations. Okay, the manager have to operate in the certain organizations, and there are different roles of the managers. Not only the one roles, there are different roles of the management and also of the managers, which need to perform by through the certain functions. We need to done through the certain functions to get the things done by others. Getting the things done by others is a very difficult task. It is very tough task. There are certain people's certain psychology, or there are certain things that may hamper the doing that particular things at the particular time. So manager need to organize those all things and get their things done by others. But first of all, they must have to perform a certain function to get the things done by others. Okay, for example, if you are a student and you have a lots of groups, in a class, and if you are organizing a certain picnic, definitely before organizing the picnic, what you do, you make a certain plan. On the basis of certain plan, you make that those picnic to happen. Okay, so similarly, you can see there are different functions of the management. Firstly, definitely in many of the scholars or many of the management experts define this type of functions of the management from the planning function at first. Okay, on the basis of the management experts or certain basis of the certain authors, the functions of management is seen. It is varying from the number of 3 to 8. There are some authors define there are 3 functions of the management, and some authors define there are 8 functions of the management. So why it is the difference? The difference is on the basis of the need of that in that particular situation. In that particular situation, if it is need, on the basis of that, the number of the functions of the management gets varied. Now, if you see one scholar, Newman and Summer had recognized only the 4 functions. Okay, the 4 functions are planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. These are the regarded as the only 4 functions that is defined by the Newman and Summer. Okay. Similarly, if you go through the another scholar, Henry Frohl, he has the person has divided these functions of the management into 5 parts. That is planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling. So similarly, if you see another scholar, Lothar Gulick, he has defined or he has stated 7 different functions under the catchword post-corp. The post-corp is basically stand for the P stands for planning, O stands for organizing, S stands for staffing, D stands for directing, and CO stands for coordinating, reporting, and finally there is a budgeting. So that's all why these scholars define these all functions of the management. It's only that it is needed on the basis of the context, on the basis of the particular context it is needed, and it is formulated. Now, with the help of that, management should achieve its objective. The major target is that managers and management should achieve its objective. As I have also told you about the managers in an organization need to perform certain functions to get the things done by others. Okay, to get the things done by from others, what you have to do, what are the certain functions, what are the things that you must have to prepare to get the things done from others. These are some of the functions of the management. If you see, similarly, you can see there Warren and Joseph has classified the management function into the decision making, organizing, staffing, planning, controlling, communicating, and directing. Warren and Joseph has defined the functions of management starting from the decision making. Most of the scholars or most of the management experts have defined it from the planning, but basically, before the planning, you must have to make a certain decision. There is a pre-plan phase. I think you know about that. Okay. Basically, if you are going to start a certain business, first of all, before that, you will make a certain plan. Okay. Before that planning also, you make a certain idea generation can be seen over there. Okay. There are certain different types of ideas that you take from the different stakeholders, from your different parties that is related to your life, that is related to your organizational life, to your personal life. From any direction, you may be getting the certain idea or some certain type of suggestions. With the help of that, you generate a certain idea. And basically it is seen according to the certain research also, 98% of the certain idea that die at the initiation phase, before the birth phase. That 98% of the ideas, only 2% would be applied, and among the 2%, very limited percent of the idea will be actually be applied to the world. So before that, there is also the certain tasks to be done. Before the planning also there is certain tasks to be done. You must have to make a certain decision making at that time. So this Warren and Joseph has mentioned the decision making as the first function in the functions of the management. Similarly, you can see Nuge and Donnell had divided this function into planning, controlling, staffing, directing, and controlling. Okay. Actually, you can see there is no prefixed format, or there is no agreement that there should be this number of the functions of management. But it is thought that it should be derived or it should be used according to the need, according to the these functions have been treated differently over the different period of the time. It is different according to the different periods of the time. So what we will describe or what we will discuss is that according to your syllabus, we must have to go through the certain functions of the management. I have derived these functions of the management according to the requirement of your syllabus. Okay. So there is, as I have already told you, on the basis of the need, you can derive the functions of management from 3 to different 8 numbers also. I have derived it only the 5 functions of the management, and basically it is seen that most of the books and most of the professors suggest this type of functions of the management. Okay. Firstly, it is the planning. Okay, what is planning? Plan is the first function that it is done the functions of the management. Okay, I think you know about the future. While talking about the planning, you think about the future. Future is always uncertain. The future that you don't know what would happen in future, or what is going to happen in future, you don't know. So therefore there is always a risk that what would be the future of the organization, or what would be the future of my particular manufacturing unit. You don't know about it. So it invites lots of risks over there. As you don't know about the future, you can only the thing that you can do to avoid such situation, or the thing that you can do to avoid or to manipulate those risks that is appeared due to the uncertainty nature of the future is, that is you must have to do the certain planning. Okay? Planning is the one thing or one task that you do to avoid those type of risks, to minimize those type of risks, basically to minimize. Planning is not, it totally avoids those type of risks, or it can totally manipulate those risks, but only the thing is that it will help to minimize those type of risks that is associated with the business future. Okay, therefore planning is done. As I have already given you the certain example that if you are going to make a certain picnic plan, you should be doing, or you would be doing first of all a planning. Okay, what is the requirement, how many students are going, what is the budget, where we are doing, what is the location, what are the programs that we will be keeping in that particular picnic. That's all things. Or if there is any contingencies, or if there unexpected events happen, you might have booked a cab, and there is a certain problem in the cab during the journey to reach the picnic location. What would you do at that time? These all things you must have to do a certain plan. Therefore it is regarded as the initial, or you can say it is a certain basic or primary activity of the management, because it is the start point. For everything there should be the certain start point. Okay, as I have already told you before, the planning also, some idea might be coming at your mind. With the help of that idea, you might be doing a certain planning. Okay, but that is what it is, pre-planning phase. Okay, that is one before the planning phase. Therefore certain scholars has also defined it as a decision making at that particular phase. So you can regard this planning as an initial, or one of the basic, or a primary activity of the management, from where the functions of the management gets started, or from where the manager will start doing or managing his tasks, or will start planning his tasks. It is the start point. It basically produces the picture of desirable future circumstances. Okay, its future is uncertain. You avoid to avoid certain type of the risks that is associated with future. You do a certain plan, and with the help of plan, you desire a certain expected picture. Okay, this will be my situation. Okay, if I plan on this way, this will be my situation. If I plan in that way, I will be getting the success. Different types of picture that will be hitting in your mind at that time. The planning, what it do, it try to create that picture, that desirable picture, of the future circumstance. And it also helps you to cope with the certain changes that is appearing in the certain organizations. Okay, and managing the change, planning is also very essential at that time. To cope with the certain change. Change is always risk to the employees in the organization. If you talk in the organization, there is always fear in employees, that what would be the next day, or what would be the next month, what would be the next year. They always have a fear. So to cope with that type of fear, also to cope with that type of unexpected change in the organization, also you do the certain planning. Okay, it is done to establish a certain goals, action plan for achievement of those goals. Okay, it is done to establish certain goals or action plan. Okay, it is basically, first of all, it is done to establish those type of goals. Okay, what are the goals? Okay, first of all, you define the. I think you know about the Vimosa technique. You know, Vimosa is certainly, it is about the vision, mission, objective. Basically, it is VMOS, strategy and certain action plan. Vimosa technique. It is very famous. In different types of the multinational organization, they try to develop the objectives of the organization on those type of techniques. Vision are the some things with the help of leaders or certain top level of the management or initiator, or let me say entrepreneur, will see that vision. Okay, my organization will be in that position, I'll be leading in that sector. That type of vision that they see. With the help of that vision, they develop a certain plan, and with the help of that mission, or they develop a certain mission or certain plan. With the help of that, they will be developing the certain objective of the organizations. The objective is, what it is. It defines the basic of the organization, how it is working, or what is the overall objective of the organization. You can regard it as a motto of the organization. Okay, that is motto. That means you must have to achieve that. Employee are aligned to achieve those objectives of the organizations. So basically, planning is used to establish those goals, those action plans for achievement of those goals and action plans also. Managers basically think through the action and goal in advance. I think you know about these all things. I have already talked to you about these things in the means work managerial roles also. There are different roles of the managers that managers should perform in the organizations. Okay, and for performing those organizations, they must have to make a certain goals in advance. Okay, for making those goals in advance, they derive it, or they make it, those type of goals, on the basis of the certain method that they have been adapted during the long course of the time. Okay, they may go for the certain type of method, or they may apply the certain logic. Okay, if let me say electronic sector is rising, if electronic sector is in at the top of the graph, let me say it is a boom, at the boom situation, then at that time it might be worthwhile that you might be investing at that time. That might be the some logic, might be keeping it behind it. Okay, if I invest in that sector, then I might be getting certain benefit, or let me say I may not get certain benefit, because the boom situation is going to burst down very quickly. No, you try to see the logic in each and every events that is happening in the sector and in the organizations, rather than the assumption. Okay, assumption is not accepted. Assumption are something that may not be proved, as I have already also discussed to you about the certain certain assumptions in previous units also. You assume the certain things, and it have both probability that it may also happen and it may not also happen at that situation. So these assumptions are not regarded, and it is not worthwhile to regard in the business. Okay, you don't write certain thing. Bye Kumar. Okay. Okay. Basically, top management sets the certain overall business objective, as I've already told you, on the basis of the vision, mission, environmental factors, business forecast. These are some of the things with the help of top management will be deciding the overall business objective. The objective are of long and short range. Okay, the objective might be the long range basically more than the 5 years or more than 10 years long range, and short range within the 5 years or within a below that particular period of the time. It can be regarded as a short range that you have established, and with the help of that, those type of objectives, it can be achieved very quickly. Okay, that can be regarded as short range objectives. Okay. It can be divided, those type of objectives can be divided into divisional or certain departmental or sectional type of the sectional or different type of individual objectives or goals. Okay, let me just share it again. Okay, no, those objectives I have talked about the long and short range of those objectives. Divisional means there are certain divisions being divided in the organizations. With the help of that divisions, you will be achieving the overall organizational objective. And those type of objectives can also be divided into according to the division of the organization or according to the different department of the organization. There are different departments: financial department, human resource department. There are different operationals department. On the basis of the department or on the basis of inside the departmental, it can be divided into on the basis of the sectional. Section A, section B. This section will be absorbing the marketing, or this will be absorbing the post sales, pre-sales. These sections has been divided, or individual objectives or goals. There is always debate in the organization how to achieve the overall organizational objective that can be matched with the individual objective. Objectives should be matched with the overall objective of the organization should be matched with the individual objectives of the organization. So only at that condition or at that time it is regarded as the identical condition that organizational objectives are also met and individual objectives. Okay, employees has also certain type of objectives in their life or in their career. They might be absorbing those type of those type of post or those type of things in the life. With the help of that, they may be running the entire organization. Okay. Next is the organizing factor. Organizing next after the planning, definitely go for the organizing basically talks about it is the arranging or allocating those type of works or authority or resources among the organizational members. Organizing, as name itself tells, that to organize the planning or to organize the events of that we have expected in the planning, to organize those activities according to the plans that we have made. Okay, therefore after the planning, the design and development should be done to accomplish the framed plans or framed objectives. Okay, Stoner had defined the organizing as the process of engaging two or more people in working together in a structured way to achieve a specific goal or set of goals. Organizing is basically, it is regarded as the process of engaging two or more people in working together in a structured way, in a formatted way, to achieve the certain specific goal or set of goals of the organizations. Okay. Organizing functions can be divided as the bridge connecting between the conceptual idea developed in the creating and planning to the specific means for accomplishing these ideas. Okay, it's also been regarded as the connecting the conceptual idea in creating and planning. Okay, planning is one end of the bridge, and organizing the tasks or accomplishing those ideas is another part of the bridge. So in midway between them, organizing is something that makes a path from planning to accomplish those ideas. So therefore it is also regarded as the one of the bridge, or it is connecting unit to the accomplishing of these type of ideas. It basically helps to combine and integrate human resource, physical resource, financial resource in productive interrelationship for the achievement of enterprise objectives. For the achievement of those type of objectives, it tries to combine, it tries to integrate those all resources such that they can be achieving, or they might be directed towards the achieving of the enterprise objective. They have certain few sub functions. For example, identification of the activities required for the achievement of objectives and implementation of the plans. What activities should we do to achieve those type of objectives in the organization. That is also been regarded as the one of the important part in the organizing functions. Okay. So similarly, there is the grouping the activities so as to create self-contained jobs. Okay. It is also talking about the grouping those type of activities such that it can create the self-contained jobs. That means self-contained jobs basically talking about the grouping these activities such that we can be achieving or which can be creating or with it would be very easy for to accomplish those the tasks that is given to us. Okay. So similarly, next is the assignment of jobs to the employees. Allocating the tasks or allocating the job, that is the job thing, that is the thing, or that is a responsibility, or that is a task that is been allocated to those type of employees on the basis of their nature or on the basis of their different types of the whether they are able to do or not those type of tasks. Different things are been seen before allocating or assigning those type of jobs to the employees. Second is the delegation. Next is the delegation of the authority so as to enable them to perform the jobs. Without the authority, you cannot perform the job. So authority is very essential for that purpose. Okay. Establishment of the network of coordinating the relationship. These are some of the soft functions. Next is the staffing. Okay, it is the continuous and vital functions of the management. Okay, it is very needed in the organization. Without the staffing, organization cannot survive. If the employee are of if the employee are of less qualified, or if the employee are of less experienced, then it would create a dilemma to the organization that what to do at that situation or what to do, how to operate those things. Those inexperienced or less qualified employees may not know. So for that purpose, staffing is needed. Staffing, it is very essential and it is the very vital function of the management. Okay, I think you have heard about the certain quotation that human resource management entirely deals with those type of staffing. There is always a concept that the right man at the right job at the right place. Those are the some of the things. Right man, how to identify the right man? That is very difficult task. This man is very essential for our organization. This man can do the task that is allocated to him or her. How to identify that? Only the intelligence or only the IQ level cannot also determine. If you see in today's organization, you can see, if you try to observe today's organization, you can see not only the IQ or not only the intelligent quotient is been seen, rather emotional intelligence is also the one of the current area that employees, whether those employees are able to emotionally attach with the organization, or whether they are able to manage those things or those emotions that is appearing in the organizations. How they can manage. Those all things are also seen in today's today's business, and they may do for hiring the right man. They may go for any type of things. For example, they may view your social networking, how you are, what type of post you are doing, or they may be doing a personally interview with you, or they may be just watching your each and every activities, day-to-day activities. How do you perform those tasks? Or they may be asking with your friends or your colleagues, what type of personality are you? Those all things can be seen in today's generation. So basically, I'm talking about the staffing. It comprises the different functions. For example, manpower planning is under the staffing. Manpower planning basically talks about the planning of those manpower that are required for those type of organization, basically for performing those jobs and for performing those type of tasks in the organizations. Manpower planning entirely also deals with the employees. Manpower that you hire in the organizations, and you plan it accordingly how to manage those employees in the organizations. Okay, And next, there is also the concept that career planning is also somewhat related to those type of manpower planning. Okay, career planning is something like that. If employee enter to the organizations, and after 10 years or after 5 years, employee will be expecting certain roles or expecting certain positions or in particular financial benefit. Now, how employee enters, and how many, after how many years the employee will be assigning the very important roles, or those type of benefits that employee would be getting in his or her career. It is entirely talking about those type of career planning also. Recruitment is something that you hire the employees on the basis of different types of the criteria that you keep. Okay, recruitment is done on the basis of different criteria that you keep, and with the help of those type of recruitment, and you will go for the next process, that is the selection of the employee on the basis of those criteria. Those who have fulfilled those criteria, how to select the best employee among them. Selection is done on the basis of different types of the test. Test is also done, interview is also been taken. And as I have already told you about, in today's world, they may observe your social networkings, they may observe your LinkedIn profile, or they may observe different types of the things, okay, that you even cannot imagine that they are observing these things, and they have selected me on the basis of those criteria. So, next is the placement, induction, and orientation. These all are some of the sub functions under the staffing function. Okay, placement, induction, and orientation. After the employee enter to the organization, he or she should be offered the certain induction training, that is certain type of orientation training. Okay, before the joining to the organization, they must have to know their supervisor, their. Okay, I was basically talking about the uh, placement, induction, and orientation. Definitely, without the placement, without the induction, without the orientations, training, and the organization, employee could not able to know about the particular organization, how the organization works, what are the certain objectives of the organization, who is responsible for that type of tasks, doing that type of tasks in the organization, who is the departmental manager, who is your supervisor, who are your colleagues whom you have to work in the organization. Without that, you would not able to know about the certain organization. Similarly, there is the transfer, promotions, and terminations. These are the regular part of the human resource management also. Transfer is basically done so that the employees could be able to know about the different areas of the organizations, so that employee could be make more perfect about their areas. And also side by side, transfer brings some freshness in the job also, in the employee's job also. Okay, for that purpose also transfers has been done in the organizations. Promotions are just it is the reward that is given to the employees. Terminations, if you have not done right job, termination of the job may happen. These are some of the regular part of the human resource management that is categorized under the functions of management as a staffing function. Training and development, similarly, training and development, it is similar to the induction and orientation, but it is slightly different than the induction and orientation. Training and development is something that if you are not able to know, or if you have less idea about the particular things, how to go through the certain circumstance, or how to pass through the certain critical circumstance, at that time you can go for a certain type of training. Or if you have a certain lack of experience in that particular portfolio, then you can go for a certain training and development in that particular area. So therefore also it is very important. Similarly, next is the directing. It is done to lead the employees so that they can perform very effectively. Directing is just only the word tells that, to direct in the right direction, to direct the employees in the right path. So there is dilemma in the organizations. Employees face the certain types of dilemma, And at that time, leaders are responsible for giving them a right directions. Okay, employees will be very clear and organized about the tasks allocated to them. Due to the direction, they will be very clear. They will be very organized about their tasks. They can be motivated to give the optimum performance. Motivations also how to give the direction. Motivations basically works on the directions. Okay, the various sub function of direction are communication, motivation, and leadership. Right communications, clear communications. I have already talked to you about the different types of the communications. Which communication is better, and at what time the communications can be proved fruitful to the organization. The leader should know about it and give the right direction. Okay. Motivations, I have talked about the different types of the theory. For example, Maslow theory of motivations, Hertzberg two factor theory, Bloom expectancy theory. There are different theories for the motivations. Okay, and leaders should know about those type of theories, how to motivate the employees, what is the best way to motivate, what are the basic indicators for motivations of the employee in that organizations, financial benefits, non-financial benefits, responsibility, tasks, what assignment, what is the motivational factor. They should know about it. Leadership, about the leadership. If the leadership is light, if the leaders are able to give the expected output, or if the leader have the clear vision about the organization, then definitely they would able to pass that clear vision. They would able to connect that clear vision with their employees also, and employees would also be connected with the leaders, and there will be the coordination between the leaders and employees as well. Okay, these are some of the directing function. Finally, there is a controlling. Okay, it is the final function. It ensures the actual activities are done through the certain plan. Basically, it is done to find the deviations between the actual expected performance and actual performance. Okay, just you can see controlling involves the basic four elements: establishing the standard of performance, measuring the current performance. That means current performance versus standard of performance. If the standard of performance is comparatively very high and your current performance is low, that is not expected situation. And if your current performance is very good as compared to the standard of performance, that is very good. And at that time also you should able to identify the what are the reasons associated for getting the higher performance in the organizations. For example, to measure the current performance, liquidity ratio, cash ratio, employee assessment techniques. I have talked about the different types of the techniques: employee assessment technique, 360-degree appraisal, critical incident method, behavioral anchored rating scale, management by objective. These are some of the employee assessment techniques. Cash ratio, liquidity ratio, current ratio. With the help of that, you will be able to know about what is your current assets status in the organization, what is your liability, and that also defines the performance of the organization. Comparing this performance with established standards and taking the corrective action. So finally, controlling is something that you have to control at that particular situation. You have to correct at that situation. How? Budgeting can be also one of the solution. Quality improvement can also be the one of the solution. Right man, hiring the right man at the right job. Recruitment and selection. Find recruitment and selection. Right recruitment and selection, that can also be the one of the solution. Marketing is, if there are certain marketing lackings, how to go for the certain types of which medium of the marketing is best in today's world. Social media marketing, television ads, radio ads, what is necessary, or what is good, what can be proved fruitful. To take the corrective actions. Audits can also be done to identify those lackings. So it's overall, we can say that these all are related with the functions of the management, and these all functions, planning to controlling, plays the very essential role for the achievement of the overall objectives in the organization. So that is the basic things that you need to know in this particular section. Apart from that, we will be discussing furthermore about the certain, we'll be going in detail about the planning function, organizing function, directing function, leading function, controlling function. And with the help of that, you will be able to know in detail about the certain functioning of the management, and it would help you to get the certain knowledge about the management, and also to perform those functions very effectively and efficiently. So I think that's much for today. If you have anything to ask, you can ask me. Otherwise, today's lecture ends over here. Okay. Thank you, everyone.